Hi, welcome back. My name is Jeremy Praegitzer. This is task 1C for Technology in a Diverse Classroom. So I teach IB Film and TV Production Tech here at Riverdale High School. The IB Film class is an advanced class. It's a college level course through International Baccalaureate. And then my TV Production class is a gen ed course, but it really covers all of the aspects of television production. So a lot of the same things that we do in IB Film, we do in TV production. So I really use the TV production class as a platform to build a base for my IB Film kids so that they understand all of the filming and editing techniques that we use as they move into IB Film and start to analyze film. So the standards that I've chosen, I have on the board here. You'll notice that they are all visual arts standards. And as I go through these, you're going to notice that they say art, artwork, artists, and I'm going to replace those words with film and directors or cinematographers, because those are the people that create the art that is film that we look at. So here's my 5 standards, and I've also listed whether or not they are content or method standards. So the first one, use critical thinking skills for various contexts to develop, refine, and reflect on an artistic theme or a film theme. Analyze artwork from a variety of cultures and times to compare the function, significance, and connection to other cultures or times. Access the works of others using established or derived criteria to support conclusions and judgments about artistic or film progress. Classify artworks using accurate art vocabulary and knowledge of art history to identify and categorize movements and styles, techniques, and materials. And then develop and use criteria to select works for a portfolio and defend one's artistic or filmic choices with a written, oral, and or recorded analysis. So these 5 standards kind of revolve around really 3 of the major assessments that we use in IB to decide whether or not the kids understand the content that we've taught. So I picked these for that specific reason, because it was easy for me to find that these are the assessments defined, really. Other than one, and that is the classifying artworks and using vocabulary and knowledge of art. Of course, they're going to use that stuff in their film portfolio, but we go through that stuff in pre-IB Film, which is really TV production. So we go through all of the camera shots and angles, the movements that they'll use, and editing techniques that they'll use, and the lighting techniques that they will use to capture great film. So you want me to look at the lesson, putting these into a lesson. The hard part about this is I can't fit all of these into one lesson, but throughout the lessons of the year, we hit each of these periodically to kind of cycle through and get them thinking about what we want them to think about. So I would say the lesson I'm envisioning, and I'm just going to pick one, I'd say the analyzing artwork from a variety of cultures and times to compare the function, significance, and connection to other cultures or times. All right, we use a textual analysis, and my kids do like 3 or 4 practice analyses, and really we build them up. So the final one has to be 1,750 words. So we start at about 750 to 1,000 words, and then we build up, go to 1,000 to 1,250, 1,250 to 1,500, and then 1,500 to 1,750. Where they can actually write a cohesive analysis, breaking down a film. When they do it for the IB, for their final assessment, they can only pick 5 minutes from that film. So the assignment that I give them is really write a 500-word analysis of this specific sequence, and I may pick a 10-minute sequence from the film for them, and they have to write 500 words using film vocabulary and analyzing what the director and the cinematographer are doing together to convey meaning. And then as we move through that, maybe by the 3rd analysis, the 3rd practice writing that we do, they have to incorporate cultural context. So we talk about 7 cultural contexts in here, things like social context, historical, geographical, political, institutional. Economic is one of the big ones. So we talk about socioeconomic analysis and really how filmmakers convey cultural context through their use of cinematography, lighting, sound design, all of those things. So they have to be able to actually do all of this. They have to use vocabulary to show their understanding of film history and cultural context, really, and how those film elements convey that meaning throughout the entire film. So really, that's kind of the lesson in itself. They have to write a paper that conveys all of that meaning. So really, we're wrapping at least 3 of those things together in one. All right. What specifically do they need to know, understand, and do by the end of the lesson? Well, they need to understand how to analyze film, how to watch film, and break it down into those specific film elements, to look at camera shots and angles and how the director is using them. And really, I tell them to watch it and think about their emotions. How do they feel? How does that scene make them feel? Because that's really the heart of analysis. The director is trying to convey meaning to you. They're trying to make you feel a certain way. So how is it working? Is it working? Sometimes it doesn't work. So you really have to decide whether or not it's working for you. All right. So really specifically, they need to know how to analyze, how to put that into words using their film vocabulary and write it into a cohesive, 750 or 1,000 word analysis. And by the time it's done, they'll write a 1,750 word analysis. How will your learners know what the goal is and what it means? Well, we talk about it. Before we even start any of these projects, we talk about in class. I introduce it to them. Here's what you're doing. We actually have a film guide that goes with it. So there are several pages based on each assessment. And we go through them line by line, telling them what the goal is. They have to understand that this is analysis and not summary. And when we first get them, they really feel like, they write a summary. They tell us what happened in the movie. And by the time they're done, they can tell us really what happened in the movie. Like, what did the director do to convey that meaning? So we make that clear from the very beginning, what the expectations are. How will you measure success? Well, I give them a rubric, and the rubric that I give them is really based on what the IB will be looking for. And that rubric changes throughout the duration of this assessment. So for the 9 weeks that we work on it, they have to show me each step throughout the 3 or 4 practices that we do. They have to show me they understand what cultural context is and how it is shown in the film. They have to show me that they understand film vocabulary, what the words are that they're going to be using and be expected to use throughout. So that's really how I measure success, is that, are they meeting the criteria of the rubric? And like I said, the rubric is given to them when the assignment is given, so they understand what the rubric looks like, what the stages look like, and really at what level they need to be working to get the points that they need. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And obviously I'm back to doing what I do best and what I like to do. So we'll see you next time.